All right. Good morning. Welcome, welcome everybody. I guess I don't need my headphones on if I'm just talking to everybody here. And good morning. I've got my coffee. Just getting started today. It's still full, so hopefully everybody is having a decent morning. We've got quite a few people joining this morning, so welcome. Make sure you say hi. Make sure you hit like button. Always helps. And say hi. Let me know who's here. Zach. Good morning. Welcome back. I always love that tie. I should put a tie on. I don't think I own. Uh, I don't think I own a tie actually anymore. Maybe one somewhere. But welcome, Zach. Grab your coffee. And Surface 47. I think this is your first time. And yeah, you know what? That was part of the news. I was just actually going to pull up in a little bit. But yeah, so in case anybody is looking, there's probably going to be no updates on your on the numbers on the portfolio. Started off pretty good this morning, but is halted. There's, I guess, technical issues with the TSXV right now. So nothing to do but hang out on the live stream, I guess. But that's okay. But welcome and first time comment. I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. And good morning, Nadia. Hung over from all the Halloween candy. Did you have a good score last night? Lots of candy. Lots of your favorite candy. I think I said yesterday in the stream, my favorite is caramel. I'm not a big chocolate person, but I do like caramel, so I'll eat caramels. And if those were in front of me, the whole thing would be gone. So I don't buy them. Your kids, yeah, your kids did, and then you steal the good ones, right? Of course. Oh, Arrow. Okay, yeah. I'm not just Arrow. Okay. What's everybody's favorite candy? We asked that yesterday, but what candy did you eat too much of? I guess Nadia ate too much Arrows last night. That's too good. And good morning, Jason. Good morning. Coffee. Yeah, still need coffee. The ADP start is it never seems as early. I always say this, but in the summer, but now that the fall has hit and with it being dark outside, it always feels like it's so early, but it's great. It's a good way, I think, a good way to get the day started. On that note, let's get started. Couple things. Reese, okay, throw the candy in. Reese's chocolate, Reese's Pieces. Okay, good stuff. If I'm eating candy, I like anything like those like gummy kind of candy, like sour candies or gummy bears, that kind of stuff. That's my thing. But I don't buy them because I'll eat the whole entire bag. Not a big chocolate person, but if gummy bears or something like that is in front of me, or wine gums, it's game over, gone. Good morning, Abigail. Welcome back. Good to have you. And to the start. So this is the kick, and Abigail likes Reese's Pieces too. There's a popular. Wasn't that ET's? Wasn't that ET's candy? Reese's Pieces, right? Again, dating myself, I think. So to kick it off, this is the kickoff. It's the first of the month, which is great. I think we had a really, we had a pretty good in terms of October with portfolios. I mean, I'm happy with how things have gone. I think are we maybe turning around a little bit. It kind of seems like it, which is nice. That's always good to see an increase. I think I read somewhere, if I'm not mistaken, it was like the biggest October like ever in terms of gains on the market. Obviously, we're still, if you're following my portfolio, is still down, but it's nice to have some green month to finish things off. And November, we started off, pretty good this morning, but then of course TSX closed for technical reasons. So we'll have to see what happens as we carry on. So that was good. But November 1st is this marks the first of what I'm doing is the basically 1 year money saving challenge. And I'm going to be continuing obviously to put regular deposits into my TFSA going forward. That's nothing like that is changing. So not to worry if you're following that along. But what I did decide to do, and I posted a video on my channel last week, and I've shared it a few times on the community tab, is basically taking a subscription that I would normally have paid for every month, and instead I've canceled that subscription. And in my case, it's the StreamYard. That's why I'll always say it every time. That's why you're seeing the StreamYard logo. I'm using the free version instead of paying for it right now. And I'm taking that money and investing in a stock. And I'm going to try that for a year to see how it goes. So I posted there was a few suggestions on what one to buy, but basically the one that was the vote from the community was Brookfield Asset Management. So it trades under, when the TSX is open, it does trade under BAM.TO if you're looking for that one. Obviously, don't have to invest in that one if you're going to be taking this challenge. Pick a stock or ETF that you want to do. But basically, I'm not going to be paying for that subscription. Instead, I'm going to be putting that into this stock. I'll be purchasing fractional shares every month and see how it does over the year in terms of save some money. So that's one less thing coming off my credit card every month, and I'll invest it instead. So just kind of, I think maybe a simple way to kind of try and save and invest some extra money. So we'll see how Brookfield does. I did manage to actually make a purchase this morning because I had transferred money in there in anticipation of starting this challenge. So I transferred. It worked out to, which was crazy when you think about it. The subscription cost is $25 US a month. So that worked out. I'm doing it like to the T, and what I did is I checked out, the currency conversion of the day, and it worked out to 33.64, which was like, holy, like the American dollar. So you don't realize it until you actually work it out. But so $25 US worked out to 33.64 Canadian. So I transfer that over. I'm just going to look on my phone here as we do this, and I did do the fractional share as soon as the market opened. I had it kind of ready to go, and I did do that. So the price is going to be not working properly because I don't think it's going to be updating. But I purchased 0.6137 shares of Brookfield Asset Management using that $33.64. So I kind of happy about that. It worked out 33.94, even more, 33.94. Just double checking on my phone here. So I did my first fractional buy of that stock, and we'll carry on. We'll see how that does. What I'll do is every month on the first, I'll figure out what the exchange rate for $25 US is and buy a fractional share of Brookfield. I won't be adding any other investment into that, so I kind of track and just kind of see how it does over the year. So it'll be interesting to save some money. And if anybody wants to do that, I did post a video, and yeah, Starbucks. I bet you it'd be crazy if you added up, go through. This is how it kind of kicked off, Abigail. Is it kicked off kind of looking at my credit card bill and going like, okay, this, like, you start to add all these things up. I'm not a big Starbucks person. I make coffee for pretty much always at home. Call me frugal. Even when I go out, if I'm going out for the day or something, like if I'm going out for like a drive to like go for a hike or do something like that, or any kind of road trip, that kind of thing, heading out, I'll actually make a thermos of coffee and bring it with me. Because I buy good coffee at home. That's my one kind of my kind of thing I'll spend money on. But I'll make a thermos of coffee and take it with me, and then I have a coffee, just put it in the car. It keeps it hot enough. I have it black anyway, so if you go meet a friend or something somewhere, I'll just go meet. If we go meet park, go meet for a coffee, we'll meet outside, and I'll bring a thermos, and they'll come in with their Starbucks, but I'll have just a thermos of coffee. So I don't spend a ton at Starbucks, but I know I have been obviously been there. It's expensive, even just a regular coffee. So add that up. What you should do, Abigail, is if you use a credit card, or even your debit or whatever you use, at the end of the month, print that statement out, actually print it and highlight it and add up how much you've actually spent at a certain place. You'll be pretty amazed, especially if you do the daily coffee. So that would be a great thing if someone, if you're not a big subscription person for things, is look at other things you can kind of cut back to put other places. I did look at also Netflix, because Netflix is going to be starting that new ad-supported one. But in looking at that, it's not really going to be a fit for me, because it only allows, and they get you, right? This is how they get you, is the ad-supported one, you can only stream it on one device at a time. So if you have a house with more than one person that uses Netflix, if you all go and watch different Netflix shows and that kind of thing, it's not going to necessarily work. So you have to get multiple subscriptions for more people. So I'm going to keep my Netflix as it is right now, because the ad-supported version only allows for streaming for one. So if I have to get two, that's not that much of a savings, really. So that's kind of where I haven't done that one. And use the Starbucks app. Yeah, you should check that. Everybody should check that out. There's obviously like there's always something that I think people could kind of forego and put somewhere else, and to see. Or I mean, but you don't have to. I mean, coffee's tough, right? You don't have to cut it off totally. You could always just go to Starbucks on the weekend instead of every day. And try it that way. Put the weekday savings into something else, and buy something. Because you could even do, like, the neat thing about with like fractional purchases. Say your coffee is five. Like, how much is it? I want to guess, like, if you're buying like a latte or something like that, it's probably over $5 now, right? For like grande whatever latte, because a regular coffee there costs close to three. It's like $2.50 or something like that. So I'm gonna say $5. So instead of like, you can just use your app, instead of using your Starbucks app to pay for it, you grab your Wealthsimple app and you put $5 in something as a fractional share. I don't know. It's everybody's kind of different, and there's a few people from the channel that are going to be doing it. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, if you are going to be doing this for the year, or trying to do it for a year, let me know what stock or ETF you're going to purchase. Wife's hubby was going to, I think, try and look at trying this challenge. I'm not sure what. I don't know what stock he's doing. I'll have to put a little poll out to see what people are buying, because it's a good one. So that was my morning with my deposit. So that's good. It's kind of nice to see. That's going to add up, I think, over the year, and we'll see how the stock performs as well. So really, I mean, if it loses money, it loses money, but it's money that would have been spent on another thing that would have been completely gone. So that I think I do without. The only downside is with the subscription to StreamYard is it limits the hours not that I do long, like I do daily Monday to Friday streams. The only downside is it limits it to 20 hours a month. But I think I worked it out. Like, if I do just Monday to Friday streams, I think I should have enough, obviously enough time to stream, because we basically go for an hour each day. So that'll keep me under that limit for StreamYard as we go. So there's that one. And I did have some news, but at the very beginning, Surface 47 broke the neuse before we go. I had basically here TSX. Let's just pull it up. I can always share the screen if you haven't read it and seen it already. I think everybody, if they've checked their portfolio, if I remember correctly, I think Wealthsimple actually there we go. Toronto Stock Exchange halts. I think Wealthsimple always puts a pop-up on there. So there's some I don't know, whatever's wrong with it. It's not working. Not able to buy or sell. So it hasn't started back up. So we'll see what. And there we go. There's actually just some news. So it's expected to resume trading at 11:10 a.m. Eastern time. So so it should be any time, because it's after 11. So maybe it has started up again. I don't know. We'll have to see. But so nothing really too much to worry about on that one. So that was some little bit of news to start off the morning, which is always fun when especially when you're trying to buy. If you're trying to buy or sell something, it doesn't go through. So we'll see how the market carries on, because we actually started off pretty decent today in everything. So I think we're hopefully in for a decent carry on through November. I don't know if we need a name. We used October. Maybe we'll call it. I heard someone on Twitter call it Moonvember, so maybe we'll go with Moonvember if everything keeps on the rise going forward. And then in terms of some other news, which is, I think, maybe some good news for our portfolios, is I'll scroll down here and I can share this as well. China's, I guess, starting, I guess like rumors have it is they're starting to kind of reduce a lot of their COVID policies in terms of log because obviously you see some what happens there. They're still very like strict, I guess is one way to put it, with their with obviously assuring COVID doesn't spread into the different areas of China, So that is apparently starting to kind of pull back a little bit, according to rumors. So markets and Asian markets have kind of rallied on that. So maybe that will continue here. That may help uh, some of our inflation. I think maybe if the supplies, start to kind of keep moving and start moving again a little bit more consistently, may help things, may help our inflation hopefully come down. And so that's some good news. So we've got good, decent good news today, which is good to see. And it was funny because I saw this article, and then it's funny how it gives you the related articles. And I did see a lottery win. Haven't read the article, but a lottery winner keeps 30 million jackpot secret from wife and child. There's always these like these clickbait headlines that get written. I love some of these headlines. Makes you want to click to see what actually happened. So it's I don't know if I won the lottery, I probably would disappear, but I would probably tell my family. Or they'd be wondering where the heck I went. And then I had one last article to share, and of course, is if people have anything they want to bring up, leave me a comment, jump in there. This is for everybody to talk as well, not just me going on. But I did have one more article, and it does kind of relate to the money saving challenge. It's kind of what I was what I was kind of wanting to bring to the forefront kind of today, talk about. That's not the right one. This one. Right. Let's get the right article showing, shall we? Let me remove that. It's weird. It's not refreshing my screen to share. So let's present. And here it is. So Canadian, and we keep talking about inflation, cost of everything, and prices going up. But this one kind of comes back to the money, like the challenge that I'm kind of trying to do, and hopefully other people are. But Canadians are increasingly relying on credit cards as cost of living source. So, I mean, a lot of people are much like myself, that I put all my bills on my credit card, because it's you have your cell phone bill, your Netflix bill. I had my StreamYard bill. I have my subscription, Adobe subscription. So I kind of funnel everything over to. I have a MasterCard that gives cash back. So I kind of put everything on there because I get the cash back. If you buy groceries and do curbside, it goes on the credit. With Master, you get percentages different. You can choose with the one I have. It's with Tangerine. You can kind of choose what categories you get a bit higher cash back on. But anyways, everything else gets 1% or 0.5%, depending what it is. But increasingly, Canadians are relying on credit cards as cost of living source. So this was kind of the idea. And Abigail mentioned Starbucks. I think the app obviously charges your card, or maybe you can load it up, I think, with your credit card, or however you load it up with a gift card, that kind of thing. But this just goes to show, and this is what you at the end of the month, as you put more and more things on your credit card, sometimes you get your bill, if you're not careful and don't pay attention, you get that bill and you're just like, whoa, that's really added up, especially with everything getting more expensive, right? So it did mention here the average credit card balance is sitting at a record high of $2,121 at the end of September. I kind of find that let me know in the comments how that amount, like 21, it seems it kind of seems high, but it also sometimes seems not actually that high, because it's quite easy to rack up one in a month, a couple $1,000, because if something for example, this is the hard part, if you're using it and you keep using it for for everything, and you're not able to necessarily pay it off. That's where the trouble comes, right? But 21-21 as a balance. I mean, it didn't get it. The article didn't get into how much actually gets. I'm guessing that's the average balance that gets carried over for people, and that can add up quite quickly in terms of interest on that. But it's not that hard. It's not that hard to put a couple $1,000s on a credit card if you have an unexpected expense, especially like I looked at my credit card bill this month, and because I had to buy uh, new tires. Like, you get your bill and all of a sudden it's like extra $1,000, right? So if you're not able to pay it off in full, you get ding the interest on the whole thing, right? I don't Maybe a lot of people might not know that. If you don't pay the whole balance off, you still pay the interest on the whole balance. That's just how it rolls. So a lot of people increasingly using things. So if there's ways, I think the key for the next year is that everybody. I mean, that's kind of my goal, is to really look at spending, and then really look at making sure and doing the best you can to pay off any debt going forward, and look for ways that you can reduce your monthly expenses, because as we know, right, like, everything's getting, like a broken record, everything's getting more expensive. So if we can find ways to hopefully invest a little bit more, it's always a good thing. And back in that article, it does mention the average. I can share it again. The average non-mortgage debt per consumer is $21,188. So that's getting up there. So that would be like credit card debt or other like loans, car loans, that start to really add up. I know from car loans, the best feeling is paying off a car loan, and I'm so close to mine. It's like 3 more months and my car's finished. I can't wait till that's done, to not have that monthly. I do bi-weekly my car, but like that extra amount not coming off my out of my account every month. It's going to be great. It's going to hopefully help me be able to put a little bit more into my investments for retirement. That's the goal, because I'm not buying a new car. I'm going to drive that thing into the ground. Just keep its maintenance up, keep getting its oil changed, and just drive it for as long as possible going forward, and not getting a new car, for sure. And then back to that article. So people are starting to kind of do things, right? We've talked about it with cutting costs, right? That's what we're kind of talking about, this money saving challenge, but a lot more people are using. It does say here is, I got to find it. I just scrolled down. Is more people are using, 52% are concerned, obviously, with keep up to monthly bills, right? Because hydro, everything gets more expensive. But to keep a lid on grocery bills, many people are saying they're using coupons or shopping for sale items, or, I mean, obviously buying less food together, not necessarily. We mentioned yesterday, like, a lot of people are skipping meals, and not necessarily a great thing. But if you're looking for sale items, then I think that's the way to go, because every little bit adds up, right? If you can save $1 or $2 buying something at a different location, or spending $1 or $2 less on an individual item by finding a coupon or a deal somewhere, I don't think that's a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with cutting coupons. I mean, I don't think they actually send out. I don't know. I haven't gotten a coupon flyer lately, but I know, like, if a lot of people are, if you're not signed up, like, wherever you shop, I mean, hopefully everybody has like the points card at all the stores, because they'll give you a lot of times there's coupons in those apps, right? Superstore, Loblaws, it's Superstore in BC here, but Superstore has them. They always have deals that you can check out on the app and find stuff you want to buy. There's also like Save on Foods here, which has the card where you can get deals, and you can always usually find something that you can save some money on. And I've mentioned it even before, like Amazon can have some coupons and stuff on there as well, to find out how we go. And let's just check if the market is open. Yeah, there we go. So we're back. We're back in. We're back in. We're back in. We're back in. We're back in business. So let's let's take a look and see how my Brookfield is actually doing, and seeing if and I'm going to guarantee. Oh, it's not there. I was going to say usually what happens when I buy a stock is it goes down. But hey, we're doing okay today on Brookfield. I think everything. I think we're having a decent gonna have a decent day. Good start to November. So what's big news, right? Obviously, coming out tomorrow is going to be the interest rate announcement in the States. So we'll see what happens there. Predictions are 75 basis points, but will they maybe follow? The States doesn't usually follow what Canada does. It's usually the other way around, but maybe this time they will slow down on their raises of interest rates. We'll see. I think we're kind of into that point where we're going to start to see a bit of a pause, which is I think going to be good, a bit of relief for people, especially if you're carrying debt like we're talking about, right? Because every time the interest rate goes up and you have a line of credit, whether it's on just a line of credit that you use for not a a regular line of credit or a secured line of credit or a student line of credit or whatever, you will you'll be paying more interest each month. So that always adds up. Time for a sip of coffee. If anybody watching, as always, questions, comments, let me know. It's good to see what people are doing. So if Surface is maybe ditched out and back to TSX to trade, let me know if you're buying anything today. What's everybody's kind of? It's always interesting to hear people's kind of sentiment of what's happening and how they're feeling, right, with the market, with the economy, with all that stuff that's all tied in together. Like I do notice on it's which is always interesting. Like on the channel, like you can see on my channel when I post videos is on days when the market seems to start improving, is the views start to go up. So people are more. It's interesting how people are interested, get more interested in the market as it's going up, not necessarily now when it has been really kind of terrible, right? Let's just call it what it is. So I always find that interesting, people's sentiment, because if it's a good, a decent good day and people are maybe thinking a bit more about investing, but it's tough, right? It's tough to there's never enough money at the end of the month, at the end of the month. But Zach's going to grab some XEQT. Okay. I always have to remember what these ones is. We've mentioned that that's the it's not the all equity one. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, the iShares. That's the there's been a few people, Zach, that invest. I know there's a few people on the channel that comment that and buy that. That's their go-to kind of ETF. And for those that are wondering, if you're watching, because all the acronyms, XEQT is the iShares Core Equity ETF portfolio. So it's basically, isn't it, Zach? If I'm not mistaken, it's an ETF of like ETFs. That's pretty diversified, right? I'm just going to pull up. I can actually pull up the holdings to share. Let's add that. Let's remove that. And so basic materials, let's just see here. Consumer financial services. So heavier on this financial services. Now, is this one, I'm going to assume US and Canadian. Yeah. So good. So core holdings, S&P, TSX, and then the emerging markets in Europe. So ETF of ETFs is basically good on. Looks like it's probably a decent one to look at. Yeah, that's kind of what it is. So it's like a set. Excuse me, I got an itchy nose today. Um, Set and forget, capture the whole world. It's much similar to. It's kind of similar to what the Wealthsimple Invest side does, kind of on their like their robo side. I think some of those ones they look the individual ETFs that it holds within that umbrella are some of the ones that uh, I think are very similar to kind of the holdings on some of what the Wealthsimple Invest side does on that similar kind of market capture. But that's a good one. So 50, so good split. 55 S&P, 22% Canada, 22% Europe. Now it probably doesn't have. It's all equity, right? I'm going to assume, yeah, equity. So no, there's no bonds or uh, anything like that in there. All equity. Do you have any? Do you have bonds in your portfolio, Zach? That's that's what got bonds got hammered. I don't have a lot of bond. I mentioned before. Obviously, my TFSA is there's no. It's all equity, but my other RSP on the invest side has this portion. 10% is 10%. Yeah, 10. I'd have to double check. 10 or 15 around there. It's low. It's lower now, just the way this it's kind of working. But let's just say 10%. I never did the 60. We always say like the 64. The 60-40 portfolio split is the way to go for um, you know market going forward. But the 60-40 portfolio, if people had that in their portfolios, it's ugly. Bonds are down. I mean, Wealthsimple has their bond is mostly on the invest side is ZFL, so it's the BMO long term Canadian bond ETF, and it's down, I think, like 20%, 22%, something like that. Just, yeah, not good. And yeah, no bonds, right? Yeah, is Xgrow is it the bond? I'm gonna assume it's like the bond grow. Is it grow? Oh, growth. Okay, well, let's just see what's in there though. Holdings. Okay, it does have some bonds. Let's pull it up. It's always good to pull these up so we can look at them together. This is Xgrow. So it does have some bonds. Corporate bonds, looks like, right? What's the holdings? So it's got, oh, okay, heavy on equities, but individual equities. Apple, Microsoft, Shopify, the usual suspects, right? But some Canadian, there's obviously Canadian in there, um, the big banks, and some energy. CN Rail, Bank of Nova Scotia. The banks are always popular um, in obviously for Canadians here. Portfolio 80%, sorry, 98% XEQT right now, 2% Bitcoin, and BTC. So do you have is it actual Bitcoin, or do you have like it in some of the ETFs and BTC.Y, that kind of thing? Zach, that's the question. Um, would be interesting to know. I don't think it's a bad thing to have a small portion of your. It's a speculative asset, but why would you not try investing in it? I'm not against that. Um, so 80-20. So is it 80-20? Sorry, you'll have to maybe correct me in the comments, Zach. Is it 80-20? Like, are we talking Bitcoin ETFs and actual Bitcoin, or I think I might be talking about Xgrow. You have to clear that. We'll have to clear that up in the comment. That's the hard thing about live streams. Sometimes you get comments in different orders um, in Bitcoin. Yeah, I try and keep my TFSA is around 5% in digital assets. It's a little bit more right now. It's probably closer to. I could actually quickly look. Um, in my TFSA, because my BTC.Y is roughly, so it's just over 5%. And then I do have ETC, which is about 5%. So roughly 10% of my portfolio is in digital asset derived investments right now. That's in my TFSA. But I do have a small little bit of Bitcoin that I do the Shakepay, as people know. I do the daily shake. I do the daily shake, and then I do like a daily. Um, I do the daily like purchase. I do a small purchase of Bitcoin on Shakepay, and then once a week I transfer it off onto my I take it off the exchange, and I have a ledger that I manage my digital stuff on separately, and do it that way. I don't have any other I don't have Bitcoin on. I don't have Bitcoin on Wealthsimple. I do have that one Solana I bought to try out the staking. That's it. Yeah, but I think I don't know. Maybe in the long term, if we're with stake Bitcoin. No, you can't really stake. You can't stake Bitcoin, Justin. It's a different. It's the way it works. It's basically just you buy it and hold it. The only way to really get any yield on it would be to look at something like BTC.Y, which is that ETF, and they basically make yield on it by doing basically trading it is essentially and I think they do covered calls and all that kind of stuff to try and make some yield, and they pay you back in a dividend on that. That's the only way to really get any yield off Bitcoin. I think there's some other. I think you can. So you could. You can. So I think Binance does it, and I think there's a company in Canada called Ledin. I could be wrong. You'd have to research that. But what you do is, it's not so much staking. It's not so much staking in the sense of like proof of work, proof of stake. It's more so you're pledging it as collateral. Like you pledge it as collateral, and they'll pay you interest on it, because what they're doing, right, is they're taking it and they'll be loaning it out, right? So Ledin, for example, they do loans on Bitcoin. So if you're pledging that as an asset, they'll pay you much. It's like putting a deposit in a bank. You deposit it to them, they pay you a yield back on it, but then they loan it out, and they make the spread. Whereas like traditional staking, like the proof of stake tokens. Let's just use Solana for an example, because Wealthsimple offers staking. You can do it on the platform, or you can do it on your own. The way the transactions are done, right? You're rewarded a token for processing the transaction, essentially. Whereas, and that's through the inflation. So the tokens get put in. So there's inflation, right? And basically, like staking yield, in theory, should go down over time because there's less availability of tokens, but as it ramps up. But for example, Bitcoin is proof of work, so it's the miners that are computing the transactions, and then the miners are rewarded for it. So Bitcoin, you're basically just kind of holding. I haven't done anything now. I don't have I don't really have. I'm like a buy and holder of Bitcoin myself. But in terms of some other stuff, other tokens, I do have some other ones, mostly that I purchased just to learn, and to play, to kind of learn and play around and figure out what this actually does, and how it works, essentially, just to kind of learn, to figure out what I'm investing in, right? Just to kind of know it that way. But I don't think I would pledge my Bitcoin anywhere. That's the because I don't know, because the whole thing, like with the whole, what was it, Celsius in the States, is all of a sudden there's a run on funds, and you don't know where they've lent your money and put it out and what they're doing with it. So you want to make sure if you're doing anything, especially with crypto, that because it's such a speculative asset already and volatile, that you want to make sure you're trying to I think might be as safe as possible. Just my opinion. Yeah, and that's exactly what I would encourage you to look at doing, Justin. Though, is invest in getting. I don't know if you have one already, but invest in getting. I don't know if we can see it here. I gotta unplug it. But invest in getting like something like a ledger. So it's like the digital holds your key, like it holds your keys to everything. Yeah, so it's just yeah, that's a hard thing. I mean, I think Binance is probably pretty safe, but people probably thought Celsius was pretty safe too. I don't know if you're taking, I think if you're staking and kind of setting it for getting it, I think it's worthwhile to maybe look at getting a ledger and learning how to take it off an exchange and stake it for yourself. That way, it kind of does give you more control over that. That's where I hold anything that's staked or held. Like my Bitcoin, I have it off the exchange for the most part. And in terms of like different coins I have staking, I do have quite a few different ones. It's not worth much, but it's more so to learn about it. So that's what I've done with that. And once you kind of do it a little bit and kind of learn about it and research it, it's fairly straightforward. Yeah, yeah. It's easier to send. I mean, Bitcoin, for example, it's quicker to send. I mean, there's the time in the block, but it's easier. This is what's so crazy. It's literally faster for me to go in and send. If I had to send someone $100 to pay them, it's faster and cheaper for me to send $100 in Bitcoin to them myself, as opposed to like logging into my bank, doing an e-transfer, doing all that kind of stuff. It can go straight to them, which is that's the whole amazing thing about it, right? We take for granted, I think, in Canada and in North America, we have access to banks and we have access to all these financial tools, but there's countries where people don't have bank accounts, right? And they're really starting to use that's what I find interesting about it is a lot of like emerging market countries and stuff are using digital assets, not to get around things, but to be able to actually use it. In different countries, one big thing is if you read and kind of learn about it, is where there's like women that won't have a bank account or can't, so they're able to use Bitcoin because anybody with basically a cell phone can use it. And I do find with Bitcoin is I find that the Lightning Network, I think, is really interesting going forward. Not to get too techy, but I think we'll hopefully see that start to take off, because it needs to get simplified a little bit in terms of for the masses. That just comes with that. I think apps getting built and that kind of thing. But I think that's the future, because the payment is so fast on that. It's crazy how fast it is. Oh yeah, Shibarium, isn't that? So aren't they doing? Isn't that going to be like? I forget what it's called. I followed them. So for Shiva's payment, and then so it's going to be payment on that. Yeah, it's so fast. And even like I'm not a big. I don't really. I don't own any sheep token or Dogecoin, but it is a lot faster. So I don't know. There's always kind of the rumor that with Twitter, if they're setting it up as a payment system as well, they might use Dogecoin as the method of payment transfer, which is fast as well. But I haven't seen any places that accept sheep token. Like it's weird. I think as we start to see more locally, kind of instead of like the one-off places that market to that, we'll see it grow for sure. I mean, if I was running a business, I would look at alternatives to possibly credit card payments. Because if someone wants to pay you somehow, if they want to give you money or value of something, why would you not try and take it, right? If you're running a business, especially if it's cheaper to accept, right? If you're accepting credit cards, it's like some places don't accept American Express because the cost of the transaction fees are more than a Visa or MasterCard, so they just don't take it. So all of a sudden, if let's call it sheep token is the cheapest and the fastest and the most people use it, like why not accept it? I mean, you could always you just cash it. If you're worried about the volatility, is you just convert it to your whatever your currency is at the end of the day, or instantly. You could even do that. You could even do that if you want to have it in your local currency of whatever that is. And good morning. Hey, Vic. Welcome back to the channel. Good to see you. Hopefully you have a coffee and hopefully you're not working too hard. And yeah, the guy that bought the pizzas, right? Yeah, it's kind of funny looking back at that, right? But maybe in the future we'll be looking at, I mean, what is it? El Salvador takes Bitcoin as legal tender. So, for example, you're going to McDonald's, you can pay with Bitcoin there. We might be looking. I mean, it might be beyond my time, but in 50 years from now, I don't think I'll be around, but someone might look back and go, this person bought McDonald's with like this much Bitcoin, and they'll be like, what were they thinking? It's crazy. But who knows where the price will be. It might be zero. Who knows? I don't think it will be, but we'll see. I think once people get more risk on in the market, we'll see it increase. Hopefully. I mean, if anything, it's actually been with buying Bitcoin, like small little bit, dollar cost averaging it daily, literally. It's been pretty flat for the last months, other than the big drop. But what Bitcoin does is it does its own thing. Yeah. So I think we'll be seeing more. But you see more. Like I see, the odd place you see signs like we accept Bitcoin. So why wouldn't they? Or Lightning being so much faster. I actually run because I'm like fascinated by all the technology and everything else. So I actually run a Bitcoin. It's not a mine, but like I run a Bitcoin node on on a little computer, a little Raspberry Pi computer. It's stuck in the cupboard by my router, and it runs what that does is it runs it validates it just carries a record of the blockchain on it. So it doesn't mine and create blocks, but it keeps a record of them. It keeps a copy essentially of the Bitcoin blockchain. But on that you can run also you can run an actual Lightning, like a Lightning channel on there. So I've connected up with other people that run Lightning channel, and we can transfer back and forth, or we can help with transactions on the Lightning network. So what happens if, say, someone wants to pay somebody else and it comes through my node, the payment transfer, you make like a Satoshi every once in a while. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to see. Every once in a while you see a transaction pop up and you've made one Satoshi for that loop of transaction going through, which is kind of fun to try. But then I have it it's set up is it's set up as a wallet too, so I can use it to pay stuff with Lightning. It goes through my channel, or it has a Bitcoin wallet tied into it, so I can transfer funds to there as well, and you can do whatever you want with it. And I don't have 20,000 Bitcoins on there. I wish I did, but no, to buy pizzas. And good morning. S Sharma. It started out okay. Yeah. For those that are just tuning in, it was good. Yeah, we're starting the money. Sharma started the money 1 year challenge. So purchase BEP. Sorry, not BEP. Brookfield Asset Management (BAM). Uh, did the fractional purchase of that today, which is awesome. So we're getting that started, and so it's been a good day. The market, I haven't looked too much, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. TSX was closed, but it's back open. Seems to be up today, which is good. Everything seems to be decently in the green, which is nice. Always nice to see. So I think we have a good decent day. It's almost 9 o'clock. This has gone fast. Thanks everybody. It's always fun to get chatting and always fun to see where the conversation goes from everybody. It's crazy. Time just goes like that. It's time we'll do the update on kind of the channel. So if you want to check in, I did do a portfolio update yesterday, filmed. So it's back on the we'll catch this 1 year challenge. So Sharma, if you actually go onto my channel, I posted a video a few days ago. It's called, if you go to my community tab, it's linked. You'll see it there. So it's like a 1 year money challenge. And what I am doing is canceled my paid version of StreamYard. That's why you're seeing this. And I'm taking that money once a month that I would normally pay for the subscription. And I bought a fractional share of Brookfield Asset Management. Is the one was chosen by the channel actually. And so that's what I'm doing for 1 year. So if anybody the challenge is to kind of see if other people if there's something on their credit card bill that they can cut off for a year to try and save instead in a stock. It doesn't have to be, it can be any stock or anything that you want. It doesn't have to be Brookfield. That was just the one that everybody chose on the channel. So kind of a fun challenge to see where that goes. Yeah. So check out the community tab. You'll see it there. You can join along. It'd be great. It'd be fun to see this as we go ahead. If anybody's carried on to do this, to see what they bought and that kind of thing, to see how everybody's kind of doing on the challenge. But in terms of the channel update, before we end at 9 here, is filmed the portfolio update yesterday. So you can check that on the channel on how the portfolio was doing. So that was kind of at the end of October. I filmed it just before the market had closed, so you can catch that. And then going forward, the next video that will be on will be because it's obviously the first of the month, is the dividends that came in from October. So we actually just came through, finally showed up today, the last one of the month that kind of shows up yesterday late. That shows up is TransAlta Renewables always pays at the end of the month. So that one was received. So I have all my totals now. So what I'll be doing is I'll be going in and updating the spreadsheet and then do a video for what the dividends were received for the month of October. And then we're off to start of a new month. And it looks like so far we'll have maybe we'll start off and have another decent month. October was good. Hopefully November is even better. On that note, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, go hit that like button. Always helps out the channel. There is a bunch of people watching, and then you can always just hit the like button on the way out as we end the stream. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I will be back tomorrow, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. It'd be great to have you back, and we'll see what's happening with the market in the morning. Is always something to talk about. If you have anything in particular that you maybe want to bring up as a topic of the stream, as always, just leave me a comment on any video and just say, hey, can you talk about this in your next live stream, or bring something up. I'm always happy to try and oblige if I'm able to. And thanks, Jason. It was a lot of fun today. It went fast. It was great. Time flies when you're having fun. So we'll leave it at that. Have a great day, everybody. Don't work too hard, and hopefully we have a green day.